Welcome to another episode of The American Dream, the only show that combats negative media. We got a great one lined up for you today. You're going to see some really inspirational interviews with thought leaders and people who are really making a difference. But also, unlike any other show, we bring national content, but also local market expertise to help empower your American dream. Got a great show lined up for you. Let's go ahead and get it started right now. So now for the word on the American Dream. You often hear me say the American Dream is a show that combats negative media. What I also want to remind you is that it's your show, not ours. So we bring on all these inspirational interviews, local market expertise, but our job is to reflect the American Dream back to you. Here's how we can interact with you a little bit more. This is our Facebook page. We would love to see you follow this thing. We post all of our clips. Yeah, you catch us on ABC, NBC, CBS. But the world is changing. If you want to follow the show, if you want to follow us, find us on Facebook. We're posting everything there. We're sharing it. A lot of these things are going viral, and that's where you can comment on the show, give us feedback, but also tap into our resources if you need an introduction, if you need advice. If you want to email me directly, follow the show on our Facebook fan page, Instagram, and Twitter. And that's just the word on the American Dream. Let's start the show now. Right, when you're talking about luxury real estate, this guy's at the top of the food chain, really doesn't need an introduction. Closed $500 million in real estate last year. He is a part of the season 11 now of $1 Million Listing and has a new program out helping you to invest in real estate. Josh Altman joins us on the show. Good to have you here, man.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
So people have to remember, not only are you a star on this TV show $1 Million Listing, but you're actually out there hustling real estate all year long. I understand last year was your biggest year.
Yeah, we had a great year last year. My brother and I, of the Altman brothers, we sold about $500 million worth of real estate. I may be a star on a TV show, but I can guarantee you I'm up at 5:30 in the morning and I'm showing about a dozen houses a day, no matter how big the TV show gets. So
yeah, man, the hustle is real.
The hustle's real, and people are like, "Wait, you still show houses?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a job. I got to do this.
So all housing markets are local. You're primarily out of LA. People always have a fascination with what's happening in luxury real estate, from the market to what's trending. So from your point of view, what are we seeing in that niche?
Yeah, so people definitely are a little obsessed with LA real estate just because of the sexiness of the real estate, because of the sun and the fun and the mansions that you don't get in some of the places like New York or London. The market here, my micro market, which is a high-end residential market in Beverly Hills, Homely Hills, Bel Air, Hollywood Hills, I will tell you it's as hot as ever. Other agents besides myself are all having their record year, which is nice. Record prices are being sold everywhere, but there's still there's definitely the question of how long is this one going to last? Because people, it wasn't too long ago that the market dipped the last time. So everybody has that in the back of their mind. But right now, we're going strong.
Well, if the market's hot, you still want to get top dollar. If it's not, you want to be able to move the property. So you just discussed a little bit about the market. What about marketing? On the high-end luxury stuff, I know you have to take it to market a little bit differently. You're attracting international buyers. So what are some of the strategies that someone with a luxury home should look to when they're selling their house?
Well, yeah, we pride ourselves in being on the forefront when it comes to marketing these high-end homes. We really treat each one as a business. Matt and I, we're entrepreneurs all around, and each house is its own animal. From the incredible pictures that we take to the drone videos that we do to the 3D videos, but then marketing it globally is the most important, especially when you're in a market like Beverly Hills. We have to hit up China. We have to hit up Russia. We have to hit up the UK. We have to hit up everywhere in the country. It's not just locally. I would say half of the $500 million that we sold last year, $250 million, was not local money.
Wow.
So that's always interesting to us. So we're doing a lot of deals with international buyers, a lot of Saudi deals we happened to do last year. So we'll see what happens this year.
Now, you say hit those different areas up. What do you mean by that? How do you get the word out across the planet on some of the real estate that you guys represent?
Well, we like to think ourselves as concierges for our clients, but we also work directly with a lot of high-end concierges that have access to real money. It's very important to get in front of the decision maker and the people who have the money from around the world, and that's one of our ways that we do that. Other ways is working with experts who specialize in marketing in those specific countries. There are magazines, there are websites that a lot of people have never even heard of that are extremely effective. Look, when you sit down on a private jet anywhere in the country, I want to make sure that when you sit down on that plush sheet of that G5, that when you open up that magazine, you see one of my clients' properties. So we are everywhere. We spend a lot of money marketing, and we always make it back tenfold. So we're not we're very happy to spend money marketing because it also helps our brand.
Makes sense. So let's switch gears here. Everybody wants to know about Million Dollar Listing, very popular show. You got season 11 coming up. Congratulations on your success there. What's coming up in the next season?
Listen, I'm just excited they called me back. I honestly, I only planned for one season. So here we are 8 years later for me. This is a fun year for us because this is the first time we're going to be taping with my daughter, who just turned 1 year old. So the fans will get to see our daughter on screen, which is important because I met my wife on screen. My first date was on screen, my engagement, my wedding. So it's nice to have them all be part of it because they've been super supportive, very loyal fans. But at the same time, you're going to see, the crazy market that we deal with. And when you're dealing with lots of sellers in a good market, majority of the time, they're going to want to overprice their listings, which make it just a lot more difficult for us to do our job.
Well, it'll make for good drama on TV, that's for sure.
Well, I'm going to bring the drama every season.
Hey, real quick before I let you go, you have a new program out there where you're helping investors. Now, this is, I think, new to a lot of people that I don't know if they know that you do this. Explain what this consists of, how you're helping people, and who is, your ideal, student for something like this.
Yeah, so we just launched it about 2 months ago. It's called Flip for Life, and it's about investing in real estate. A lot of people don't realize that probably half of my income, if not more, is from investing in real estate, not just selling real estate. So the tips, the secrets, the tools that I've learned over the past 15 years investing in real estate, I give people an opportunity to hear those and go out there. We help you find the house. We help you finance the house. We take you all the way from A to Z because we want people to realize that, look, 99.9% of the millionaires in this country made their money in real estate. I love real estate. It's still an incredible investment, and I think it's important for people to get into it.
Is the strategy a flipping strategy or a buy and hold or both?
Well, that's the thing. There's so many different options. Yeah, you can of course flip it, and which I do all the time, buying houses and trying to sell them within the same year. But I also do it as quick as flipping a contract, or maybe I'll close on a deal and then I'll do some work and refinance it and hold the deal. So there's so many other options besides just buying a piece of real estate and trying to resell it that we talk about and we introduce to these people because I got to tell you, there's about a dozen ways to make money along the way of a deal. And I think it's important to educate people about that.
All right, man, the hustle is real. You sleep?
I did a couple weeks ago. It was great.
Oh, good for you, man. Hey, good luck with the investor program, certainly season 11, and we look forward to having you back on the American Dream. Thanks for dropping in.
Thanks, fellas, so much for having me, and I'll go sell the dream while you do the American Dream.
Love it, man. All right, hope you enjoyed that. If you have questions about real estate, we'd love to help you as well. Feel free to reach out. The Josh Altman. More of the American Dream coming up next. Well, as you know, the American Dream is a national program where we focus on business, the entrepreneurial spirit, overcoming adversity, finance, the market, all things that are relevant to empowering your American dream. But a big topic of conversation on this show is housing. So what we do is we integrate local, top-producing, award-winning realtors to cover a wide range of topics on that subject, different micro markets, different niche subject matter. Housing is such a big topic, so we're going to bring you a lot of information right now from some of the best in your market. Let's check out these interviews.
Welcome back to the American Dream. Well, my next guest is no stranger to this show. He's a top-producing realtor with DeSelms Real Estate, Brian Cournoyer. And today he's brought along a very special guest with him, Andy Voyles, Senior Vice President of Bank of England. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Always good to be here. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Brian, I want to begin by talking to you a little bit about interest rates. Can you give us a quick update on where they're at right now, and are they having an impact on right now on real estate?
Sure, absolutely. I know that's like the most exciting topic that people can discuss here is interest rates. So that's actually why I brought Andy today because he's the expert in that field. But let me just speak to the markets here. We're in the middle of the summer now, or coming into the middle. It's still a hot market here in both Nashville and south down in Williamson County, Brentwood, Franklin. There's a lot going on. And one of the other things that's really impacting besides the interest rates is the redistricting of the school zones down in Williamson County. There's a little bit of redistricting that happened. As you guys know, Williamson County schools are the #1 schools in the state of Tennessee. So there's a lot of people that are moving right now trying to get into a certain school or keep their kids in the schools that they were in before. And so we're seeing a lot of movement in that. But let me kick it to Andy and we'll address interest rates.
All right, thank you, Brian. Interest rates have been steadily increasing really since the tail end of 2017. And the Fed has all but committed to at least 3 to 4 rate hikes through the course of 2018. What that's doing is it's raising the cost of short-term funds and long-term loans, such as mortgage loans. And that progression will continue throughout the course of the year. With that said, it does create an even bigger impact and importance on getting pre-qualified or pre-approved before you begin the home buying process. Affordability is going to be a bit challenged as rates continue to increase.
Sure, sure. Well, Andy, I actually want to switch gears and talk to you a little bit about the fact that you are an active candidate right now for Williamson County School Board. Brian mentioned it earlier that Williamson County is actually having some rezoning, and people are trying to figure out what that means for them and their real estate. Tell me a little bit about why you wanted to run for this board.
Well, thank you. It's a passionate topic of mine. My name will be on the ballot in August. August 2nd is the election, and I represent District 4 in Williamson County. As we mentioned earlier, Williamson County has the #1 public school system in the state of Tennessee, and Williamson County is a very desirable neighborhood all throughout, which impacts our school capacity and school zoning issues. And actually, that's what got me interested in this about 8, 9 years ago. Is it impacted my family personally, as we were rezoned a couple of different times. With the increase economically and in residential growth, that could continue to be a challenge. And it's my responsibility, I feel, to represent our district and make sure that the information is being shared adequately, because it can impact resale and property values without question.
Absolutely.
Well,
Brian,
and
what are you seeing on your end?
yeah, if I can just add to that, part of the reason that I'm supporting Andy in his candidacy for this is he has 3 kids in Williamson County schools. I've got 2 kids. So it really does hit home. And with both of us working in the real estate world, this is our day in, day out. We really understand that market and the impact that it has on families. And we're watching out for our kids, and we want to watch out for everyone down there in Williamson County. And it's going to be great to have someone like Andy on the school board that has over 20 years of leadership history in big business here in Williamson County. He really knows his stuff, and he really wants to pour his heart into the schools right now, which I just think is fantastic. It's why I wanted to bring him on here and share this with everyone.
Absolutely. Andy, I want to ask you, what kind of an impact do you hope you personally have?
Well, one of the challenges that our school board faces every year is just this growing operating budget. With the increase in student enrollment and residential growth, there comes the increased demand in funding. And I'd like to put the last 20 years of senior management experience that I've had in budgeting and forecasting and planning and leverage that for good on the school board.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. Before I let you go, Brian, tell me a little bit about a beautiful listing that you have. I believe it's 488 Jones Parkway.
Yes, absolutely. That's a brand new listing. Thank you for bringing that up. 488jonesparkway.com if you want more information. Beautiful new listing. It's in the Annandale subdivision right in Brentwood, conveniently located for everything in downtown Nashville, Brentwood, Franklin, Williamson County schools. It's a really, really neat neighborhood. This house is unique in the fact that it's a big house. It's over 11,000 square feet, so get ready for that. But it does not have a pool. It has a big pond out back. And instead of a pool, it has a full court basketball court and entertaining area down in the basement. So it's an amazing home, custom built in 2011, right in the middle of Brentwood. Check out the website, and I appreciate you bringing that up.
Absolutely incredible. And as I said earlier when we were off camera, Brian, your listings never disappoint. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on The American Dream.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
And to our viewers out there, we encourage you to join in on the conversation on social media or on our website, americandreamnetwork.tv, and we'll be right back with more of the show. Welcome back to The American Dream as we now focus in on your local Nashville market. My next guest is Monte Mohr. He's the broker owner of Exit Realty, the Mohr Group and Associates. Monte, thank you so much for being on the program today.
Great being here as always, Jen. Thank you so much for the privilege.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure, Monte. I actually want to talk to you today about a business model that you've developed, and this is actually a little bit different. You are offering a $950 full-service flat fee offer for those selling a home and buying another. Tell me a little bit more about this program.
Absolutely. Well, most of us remember the 2008, 2009 market when it seemed like the bottom fell out of everything. Well, during that time, I was struggling with trying to help my sellers sell their homes and not become a short sale or a foreclosed property because the banks were dropping prices and it was very hard to compete with them. And one day I thought, well, what if I could help them lower their cost to sell? If they could lower their cost to sell, they could lower their price. If they lower their price, they're going to increase their odds of selling. And so at that time, I created a program where I waived the entire listing portion of the commission and sold the home without charge if they'd simply buy their next home with our help. And during that 6-year period that we did that, we saved Middle Tennessee homeowners over $3 million in commonly charged fees because we actually closed over $100 million worth of real estate during that time period without charging anything. But in the last 6 months or so, we've morphed to a 950 program simply because we prefer to have the seller have some skin in the game. And that 950 helps us pay for part of the hard costs on the front end. And the really cool part about this program as well is that anybody that participates in it, we also provide funds enough to Feed America First to provide 1,000 to 1,500 meals. So we really get into a win-win-win. In my opinion, it's a win for the consumer, obviously saving an average of $8,000 to $10,000. It's a win to also the community that we're providing 1,000 to 1,500 meals with that part of that 950. And it's a win for us as realtors because we're introduced to another family to show them our commitment to an excellent experience.
Sure. So if I understand this correctly, you're waiving the 3% listing portion of the commission. You're only charging $950. Are some people coming to you and saying, Monte, what's the catch?
That's what we hear all the time. If something's too good to be true, it must be too good. It must not be true. So the catch is simply this. We have a few things that are restrictions. One of them is, of course, you have to buy your next home with our help. In other words, we're selling 2 homes really to get paid on one. And the seller of that home is going to pay somebody typically around 3%. That's our fee. They were going to pay somebody that anyhow. So we're really working both sides of the transaction for a typical common 3% plus that $950 up front. The other stipulations are we want the sale price to be at least $250, which around Nashville now, I don't know how it is in your area, but around here in Nashville, it's hard to find something under $250. It needs to be here in Middle Tennessee, not too far out. Those counties touching Davidson County. The $950 is paid up front. I mean, those are very realistic stipulations because, again, the main thing is we want the client to have a little skin in the game to know, look, we're going to save you thousands of dollars. For that in return, we want you to make an investment in yourself.
Do you have an example of how this model has really helped your buyer and seller save money?
We really do, Jen. We actually have literally thousands over the years. But one recently was a really good example because the assumption again is that we must not be providing a full service. So here's a home at 1705 Montclair Boulevard here in Brentwood. The home was listed for $825. That's really all it would market for. But we did what we call a mega open house where we made it a real big fanfare. We had champagne, we had hors d'oeuvres, we had balloons, we had extra people to help and so forth. And we ended up selling that home. We, first of all, created over 50 viewers, but we sold that home for $15,000 more than asking price. So do the math real quick here. So we saved them 24,000 on the commission, on the common commission, by only charging $950. We got them 15,000 more than asking price. That's 39. It's a $39,000 swing in the seller's favor. See, the assumption is, well, if I'm saving that much money, it must be a discounted effort. You know, everybody likes to save money, but not everybody wants to shop at Walmart to do so. No offense to any Walmart shoppers out there. Most of us would rather shop at Nordstrom's. Wouldn't it be a beautiful thing if we had a gift card that we could shop at Nordstrom's for the Walmart prices? That's kind of what we're offering here. Full service, without the fee, if you'll simply buy your next home with our help.
Well, and you're really making up for it on the back end, because if you have a seller that's profiting $40,000 or $50,000 more, they probably will invest that in their next home, in which case that seller is paying your commission. I think this is a genius business model. Monte, thank you so much for being on the program and sharing it with us today.
Thank you, Jen, for the privilege.
And we'll be right back with more of The American Dream.
Welcome back. We next take you to Nashville, Tennessee, where we have Jacey Cook with us today. She is a realtor with Cry Like Realty. Please welcome her to the show. Jacey, it's so great to have you back as always. How are you?
Hey, Sarah, I'm great. It's great to be here again. Nice to see your face.
Nice to see you too, and I know we've got a little bit of color coordination today, and that was not planned, so we must be like on this same wavelength today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know that there's a neighborhood that has really kind of been on your radar within the Nashville area, and it's also been able to kind of be at this price point of the $300,000 range. So can you give us just a little bit of a description of Nolensville and what's happening in that area?
Sure. Yeah, I wanted to talk about Nolensville this month because it's been something that's been really interesting to me over the past year. It's a town just southeast of Nashville, and it borders Franklin and Brentwood both. And back in 2010, it only had a population of 6,000 people. But in the special census that they did this year in 2018, it's already doubled its population to 11,000 residents, and it just continues to boom. It's an area that's branched off of the city, but they've built some really cool new housing concepts there that we've really needed in between the suburbs and downtown.
Okay, so within Nolensville, I know that you were also telling me that there's two neighborhoods in particular that you're selling in and you're really excited about. Can you tell us about these neighborhoods and why you are so excited about them?
Sure. Yeah. So over the past year, I've sold built two houses in this community called Burkett Village, and it's a really cool concept. The new concept is cottage homes, where almost everything is one-level living. A few of them have bonuses upstairs or one bedrooms upstairs, but it's the perfect detached single-family home, two-car garage. Most of them are 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, but all on one level. All the yards are fenced, very low maintenance, small yards where, close to your neighbors, but it's really quaint and cute. I had 2 best friends that are in their 50s that we built houses 8 houses down from each other, and we're calling it their Golden Girls houses as they, as they've downsized out of big houses into these neighborhoods. But these cottage homes, I'm just in love with the one-level living concept.
Now, would this also be a good place for somebody to live that may be a first-time home buyer? What do you think about that?
Absolutely. There are a ton of people. I mean, the main thing here that's great is that price point, and we'll get a little bit into that with the next community as well. But most of these cottage homes, the maximum price you could really get it to is up to $325, even if you upgraded everything in the house. So for that first-time home buyer looking for something that's not a townhome and wanting a detached house with a yard, if they have a dog or something like that, yes, there's tons of single people and empty nesters both building in this community.
Perfect. What about the other community?
So the other one's called Burkett Commons, and it is brand new, just under construction right now. And you'll see in the B-roll some of the pictures. We just had a open house for my office out there, and these are 3-story, really cool townhomes that have 2-car garages, and they're really, in my opinion, geared towards a single person or that first-time buyer. Probably not going to be an older retiree wanting 3 stories, but the concept is called urbanism. So at the front of the community, they're actually putting a burger joint, a beer and liquor store, a nail salon, proposing for a coffee shop, but it's very quaint attached townhomes with this whole residential business side at the front in walking distance, and it's really, really cool. All starting at $280 up to about $350.
Okay, I was just going to ask you about those price points. So are you seeing these go pretty quickly? Is that a good price point for both of those type of neighborhoods? And how quickly could somebody move in if they wanted to?
Sure. Yeah, that price point in the low 3s is a killer price point. It's the sweet spot. In Williamson County, this borders Williamson and Davidson County, and really at the 300 and under price point prior to this, you're going to only have a townhome, and most of the time it's not going to have a garage. So both the cottages and these 3 stories are filling that 300, low 300 need. If you're going to build something like this in the cottages of Burkett Village, there's several that are under construction now and going to be completed in the next few months. In the townhomes, there's a couple still left, but your timeline's probably looking more like mid-fall, October timeframe.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Jacey Cook, it's always so great to have you on the show, giving us an update in Nashville. Thank you so much for coming on. Sounds good. And you're watching The American Dream. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You just heard from award-winning realtors about your marketplace. It's one thing to find your dream home. It's another thing to finance it. I've traveled the country to find the best mortgage experts in every city. You're going to hear from yours in a Mortgage Minute right now. Let's check it out.
And we've got our Mortgage Minute with Michael Brown of Churchill Mortgage. Michael, thank you for being on. Can you tell us, is this the right time to buy versus rent?
That's a great question. There's 2 stats that I recently read about that I thought were really interesting. The first one was there's 39 out of 50 states where buying a home is cheaper than renting. And in Tennessee, it's truer than ever. Rents are at an all-time high here in Middle Tennessee. So we found that most often folks can get into a mortgage payment much cheaper than what they're currently renting today. And they've also determined that a home buyer has a net worth over time 44 times greater than those who are renting. So 2 powerful statistics, and with the rates still being down, I think it's an excellent time to purchase a home.
I completely agree. Nashville is an incredible market to be buying into, and there's never a bad time to buy and start building that wealth. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that's all for the American Dream. Thank you so much for checking us out. Remember, our goal is to educate, empower, and engage your American Dream. Don't forget, we love you to breathe oxygen into this message. Follow us on social media, and don't forget, we'll catch you next time. See you next week.
The preceding program was sponsored by Ignite Now Media with promotional consideration by its affiliated partners.